Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome back to Meet Edgar's live stream series, where today we are speaking all about using social media to present yourself as an expert. So the reason that we want to talk about this today is because social media can be such a powerful tool, but so often we feel like social media is running our lives rather than us using social media for our business. And I don't know about you, but I would much rather be in that control seat that I actually feel like I'm using social media rather than it using me. And one way that you're really going to be able to use social media to position yourself as an expert in your industry is to make sure that you have a clear strategy set out. So now that you are thinking about this a little bit, I don't want you to leave just because you're not a business owner or just because you're a solopreneur and you're not sure what an expert status can do for you. Or if you're in a company, perhaps, like myself, I'm not a business owner, but I work for a company, but still using social media in order to present myself as an expert is something that's really important to do. So how do you start? Well, with most things, it's about getting super clear about what you are an expert in. It starts with discovering what you want to be known for, but more importantly, why you want to be known for that thing and the impact you want to have. That impact part, so important. So first, I want you to do a little bit of soul searching and ask yourself what message excites you to consistently reinforce online. Because to be seen as an expert online, you really need to go deep and not wide into a subject matter. This goes into the comparison that you want to go a mile deep and an inch wide, not a mile wide and an inch deep in whatever subject matter you're trying to become an expert in. So you don't want to think that you have to please everyone and make sure you have an answer for everyone about everything. You need to be seen as niching and being an expert in that one specific area. So the more niche you can go, the more you're going to be seen as an expert. And you need to really be excited about talking about this stuff over and over. If you're familiar with Meet Edgar, you know we're a social media automation tool, and our service really is built around an evergreen content strategy. So making sure that the content you're putting out there is super quality, so it can be shared multiple times so that you are gaining the actual interest of people and making sure that you are getting the interest of the right people by showing yourself as an expert. So repeating your content that's set up in a really quality way has shown for so many people to be a strategy that works really well online. And this doesn't mean just repeating the exact same post every time, right? It means making sure that you're upcycling your content. And say you're a blogger or a podcaster and you've done an episode or an article, making sure you're getting more than just one status update out of that one article. So how can you make that article into about 5 status updates? By getting different pull quotes out of them, by making sure you're doing a quick video of the main topics of them, by making sure you're introducing the blog with different ways of describing what's in it, telling a personal story, asking your followers questions about it. These could all be status updates to share that same subject matter to, again, make sure that people know you're going deep in one area to present yourself as an expert online. So if you're going to be talking about the same thing over and over again and upcycling your content all of the time, it needs to be a subject matter that you're excited about, right? Because if you're not excited, your followers for sure are not going to be excited, and people can feel that energy online. So know that it's going to take some time, and that's one of the reasons that an evergreen strategy while you're building your expertise status online is so important, because you don't want to get burnt out. So it's okay that it's going to take a little bit of time, but remember, if it was easy, then everyone would own their own business and be a millionaire. So remind yourself you're in this for the right reason, for the long haul, and get really clear on the impact and the excitement that you have around the subject area that you're going into. And if you're willing to wait and be really patient with this evergreen content strategy is going to build your trust and authority online so much faster than just getting out there and posting things and now when I have time strategy. So we'll go into the strategy part in a little bit here. But once you get really clear on the impact that you want to have with your expert status, you really want to know what excites you that you'll go out there and talk about it every single day. I want want you to go out there and find mentors who are in the place that you want to be. So look for people who are maybe 10 steps ahead of you and study their content, see what they've done. Really find these online mentors. This is another way that social media can work for us rather than us working for social media, is if we get really targeted about the content that we consume. Because so often if we're putting garbage in our heads, we're going to be putting garbage out into the world. So curate your feeds with people whose voices that you really trust, and make sure you unfollow anyone who's not serving you and really motivating you to push you in the right direction of making that expert status a reality. And if you truly listen to some of the people who are in the top of their field, what they actually comment on that's pretty similar is the idea that they never stop learning. So when you're trying to become an expert online, one of the things to think about is that you always want to have a mindset that it's not a destination. You're never going to get to that expert status nirvana and then it's done. You have to continue to evolve and you have to continue to learn. So how you can kind of build these muscles and practice this is to become an early adopter of different platforms. So say that you haven't jumped on TikTok yet because you don't think your audience is on there. Perhaps this could actually be a platform that you could go onto to get a different type of creativity. So often if we're just creating content on the social media network that we're used to, let's say you're used to Instagram so much. If you only stick to Instagram and you never go onto these newer platforms at all, your creative juices about what you can do and what you can learn technology-wise might be stalling a little bit. Even if it's not a platform that's going to gain you a ton of brand awareness, it's probably going to build your skills in a really great way. And the skills that you learn on one platform can probably be transferable to another bit. So as you're starting to develop this mindset, remember, mindset's a muscle that you have to practice all of the time. So as you start developing this mindset of continuously learning to be an expert, remind yourself to go out there and be an early adopter to these new technologies so that you continue to have this in your view as the right direction to go in. And the thing about this is it truly means that being an expert online doesn't mean you have to know it all right now. And that's pretty exciting. It really means that you have to get a few steps ahead of the people that you're trying to teach. And that's the beauty of being able to get started without having the end in mind, right? So again, a common thing that we hear from experts in their industries is that they started before they were ready. They just jumped in. So I want you to remind yourself that you don't have to have everything in your industry figured out to start presenting your thought leadership online and start presenting yourself as an expert. You just need to be a few steps ahead of your followers. And this is actually a huge advantage for you because if you're only a few steps ahead, oftentimes this means that your followers will be relating to you better because you're not like up on a pedestal where they can't resonate and relate to what's going on in your life so much, but you're just right there along with them, teaching them, learning and growing with them. And how much more fun is it to consume content that is in this fashion, right? So remember that. Start before you're ready. And it goes along with this quote from MLK that, you don't have to see the whole staircase to take the first step. That is something that you could bring into your own social media strategy and your own business strategies. Taking that first step, getting off to the start before you are ready mindset is going to get you to that expert status way before just continuing to learn and continuing to consume content is. So have that bias towards action and actually start to go out and create some things, start to learn, start to fail, start to see your wins and iterate from there. So after you're starting to master your mindset, it's really truly going to be needing to know your stuff in a confident way. Confidence is one of the biggest things that you can project online because when it comes down to it, watching someone or consuming content that you can tell the person isn't confident in is really uncomfortable for the person on the other side of the screen. So as you start doing this, know that your confidence is actually going into your expert status, even if you feel like you're in imposter syndrome zone still. To get past that imposter syndrome, you just need to be courageous. Remind yourself that courage comes before confidence. Confidence isn't something that we're just born with. It has to be built up. So get courageous, get out online, and just start producing that content. The more courageous you are, the more that confidence is going to be instilled in yourself. And once you have that foundation of knowledge, what is going to be next is going to be diving deep into the community that you're going to build online. Now, your community is going to be built around how you're presenting this in a unique way, because we all know that industries are really saturated these days, right? Any industry that you're in, there's probably a competitor out there that your followers could choose to go do business with rather than you. So what is it about you, your unique selling proposition, that is going to attract someone rather than have them go and take their business elsewhere? This goes into, again, a little bit of soul searching and making sure that you're taking aspects of your personality into your actual business strategy. This is a super important thing to do that I think we're all a little bit afraid of. Having opinions in life and having opinions in your business is really important, because those stories and those opinions that you share that are unique to you are going to attract people who will consume your content and actually be activated by it to take action, to improve their lives, to solve the pain point that they have, to achieve the outcome that they want with you rather than with someone else. Think, for example, for me, you might be watching this video right here. You could learn social media strategy or how to become an expert from other people. But you trust me, Edgar, because of our brand awareness, because of our status, and because you perhaps like the pace that I speak or something like that, is going to attract you to me rather than going to someone else. That's true in your industry as well. So don't be afraid to hide those unique things about your personality and to give those opinions. And if you're just starting out, remind yourself, be confident in your abilities and just keep moving forward. You want to really make sure, if you're starting out as well, not to spread yourself too thin, because this again will lead to burnout. So we talked about burnout and the fact that you want to make sure you have an evergreen strategy of posting, meaning you're not just going to post something once and forget about it, but you're going to write quality content to share multiple times on social media. B, you're going to have an upcycling strategy. So take one pillar piece of content and make sure you're getting at least 5 to 10 status updates out of that one pillar piece of content. And C, making sure that you don't feel like you have to spread yourself on every single social media network at the start. It's much better to build a strong following on one network. And it's the mindset that it takes a network to grow a network. So start where you think your ideal audience persona is. If you're not sure, test a few out, do a little research on the demographics of how people and who consumes content on each network the most, and go from there. It really is built upon the fact that if you are spreading yourself too thin and you're not doing the engagement part of social media, of actually talking back to your clients, you're losing a huge chunk of the reach for your posts, of making sure that people see you as a real person who they know, like, and trust. And that all goes into being all in on one network. Once you get a strong following there, then it's going to be time to branch out to other networks. And the magic of having your expert status is that you can truly show that you have an obsessive love for your community. And that love for your community is kind of your algorithm buster, to be honest. If your community can feel that you outcare other people in your industry, or that they can really feel that there's a real person behind there, they'll start talking back to you. They'll start having those meaningful conversations, which we all know is what the algorithm is going to boost and give our posts more reach to. So don't be worrying about what's going to pay off, what's going to get me the most money. Be worrying about what's going to give your followers and your community the most value. It's going to be of a servant leadership mindset and a value-based system of posting on social media that will skyrocket your expert status way more than worrying about your money or worrying about any of that. So remember, money is truly just a byproduct of the value that you offer. If you're doing it right on social media and you're offering value after value, and you're continuing to show your unique selling proposition and consistently showing up, your followers will feel that and they'll be excited to hand over their credit card and purchase whatever you're selling down the road. And that last part about your unique selling proposition and making sure you're putting your personality out there may seem really simple, but I want you to tune out any limiting beliefs that you have that this might not be working for you. And remember that authenticity over approval online is going to get you way further. So remind yourself that getting that unique selling proposition out there to be authentic, I know it's kind of a buzzword these days, but you see what I mean, is going to get you way further when you actually start to sell to people. people. And that's truly why having a category-based system of posting on social media is also one of the things that we're truly passionate about here at Meet Edgar. Our tool is based on having different categories for your status updates so that you can achieve this sort of like 80% value adding posting, 20% self-promotional posting. So categories can be things like how-to posts, inspirational quotes, selfies and behind-the-scenes content, tips, recommended curated content, videos. All of these are really valuable content items to send out, and you can categorize them so that when you're posting on social media, you get a variety of content and people can get to know the entirety of who your brand is online, and that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So when you're building a community, remember, it's not when I'll have time to post, it's having a category, an evergreen posting schedule and strategy set up that's going to give you the authority and the expert status that people are excited to see when your content comes up into their feed, rather than seeing your content in their feed as something that's more like an intrusion when they're just trying to connect with their family and friends there, right? So do that category-based system. If you use a tool or if you don't use a tool, remind yourself that having these categories set up is truly the way to build a vibrant community. And as you're building your audience, having categories is so important because it allows you to pay attention to the type of content that your followers really want to see from you. So if you see a certain category gaining a lot of traction online, it's basically a really good kind of indicator that that's a bright spot and your audience is giving you feedback to keep giving them more of that type of content. Social media has the word social in it for a reason, because we need to listen and gain that knowledge that our community is giving to us. So pay attention to the categories, the types of content your followers are telling you they want more of, and continue to produce more of that. And when you are thinking about making sales, make sure that you really have a vision in mind with your community about the exact transformation your product or service is going to give for someone. Because we purchase results and we purchase the outcome that we want rather than just the tangible product, right? So when you're purchasing a result, how do you know it's the result you're going to want just from someone's social media feed? Well, that comes from sharing testimonials and sharing social proof. Now, testimonials and social proof is one of the best ways to present yourself as an expert and the go-to person, because people can see themselves in those stories that your testimonials are sharing. So if you do not have any testimonials at this time, it can be really helpful to do a little work for free. I know it's never any fun, but the testimonials that you get are going to pay for it in dividends, and it's going to just be way better for you. So reach out to people you know you can help and offer your services, offer your product for free in exchange for a testimonial. If you don't want to do that, but you've taken yourself through your own program or your product, perhaps you could tell your own story and really reiterate to people, your journey, how you got there, and then let them know I can get you there in a much easier and much faster way now that I've gone through this myself. That's basically what a mentor is. And if you can become a mentor in that expert status online, people are going to be super excited, again, to see your post show up in their feed. All right, so the last thing here to become an expert is having a visibility strategy. So this means reaching out to podcasts, reaching out to other companies to do joint webinars, reaching out to do guest posts, getting yourself in front of other people's eyes. This, again, not only broadens your brand awareness, but it also allows you to have a little bit of authority in the fact that you can say things like, hey, I've been seen on XYZ, or I've done a partnership with XYZ. You really just need that one sort of hook in there in order to allow yourself to present it to more and more experts. So if you get on a podcast and you can then reach out to another podcast and say, hey, I was just on this podcast. This is what I talked about, XYZ. It's way easier for the future podcasts to then be excited about bringing you on. So start reaching out to people, start telling them what you can offer to their community. Always do a little bit of research first about who their community is, and present your expertise in a way that they are excited to bring it in. All right, so if you want to dive any deeper, there's a guide for social media optimization in the description of this video. Check it out, goes over some steps there, and let me know what you guys are looking to get into an expert status. I'd love to know what niche you're in, what industry you're in, and check back tomorrow for another live stream. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. It was really fun hanging out today.